So when we look at this next problem, we have to consider the data that's in the table. When you look at the information that's in the table, you want to think whether it is a discrete or a continuous set. And I would tell you right away that this is a discrete set, and I'll tell you why. It's discrete because the information that's here is categorized. So we have our entertainment, which is $100. Which is $100. Our clothing, which is $225. Our cell phone, which is $50, and our lunch, which is $75. So this automatically tells me that this is a discrete set of information. So this is going to tell me that this is going to be possibly a bar graph. So like we said earlier, this information is considered discrete. And we're going to use a bar graph. And the reason why we know it's a bar graph, it's because of all of these entertainment and clothing, cell phone, and lunch. Now, if I took a look at this information, you could do a histogram. And let me show you what the histogram would look like. The histogram looks like a frequency and amount table where there are a maximum of 2 possibilities for the frequency on the left side here. And along the bottom axis, we have the amount in dollars. And we could easily create that. Now, you could, but it's a bad choice. The categories don't really allow us to show the differences between all the information, and it's also really close together. So now let's take all this information and let's go and make some charts. Remember that this stuff can be represented as a bar graph, or we could make a pizza graph. Now, when we take a look at the expense and amount, what we want to do is we want to create a bar graph. Okay? Let's do that. And we'll also create a pizza graph as well. Now, in order to create the pizza graph, we're going to have to do some calculations. So the total that we have here is 450, as you can see. So when we do our calculations, we're going to take 100 divided by 450. That gives us 0.22, which is really 22%. Now for 225, we're going to take 225, we're going to divide it by 450, you're going to get 0.5, which is 50%. Now, if I look here, you got $100 and then you have $50. So that means if this is 22%, that means that this is just 11%. Because 50 is half of 100, so that means 11 must be half of 22. So now, in order to get the last part, 75, we did 75 divided by 450, it ends up being 0.016 repeating, which turns into 17%. And when we total that, just to make sure, that's 100%. So now, in order to find the angle for this for each of these special numbers, we have to take the percentage, and we have to take the percentage of 360, which turns into 0.22 times 360, which gives us 80 degrees for the first one. Now, let's go to this next one. So that means, if you think about it, that means if this is 80, that means this one has to be 40 because it's half of the information that we have there, right? And now, let's go 50%. 50% of 360 is just 180 degrees, so the only thing we have to calculate is this 17%. So we're going to start with 17.17 times 360 gives us 60 degrees. Total all that up, and it should equal 360 degrees. Now, we have to sketch these. So when we sketch these graphs based on, say, the expense, and the amount, this one here, these two will allow us to make a bar graph. And this will allow us to create a pizza graph, or also known as a pie chart in Canada. So now, this is what the pie charts look like, and the histograms. So, this is our pizza, and this is what our pie chart would look, our bar graph would look like. And we're done. Now, your job is to go and create the pie chart and the bar graph for this problem on the computer. You will get 2 marks for your test by showing me that you can do this.